Nu eerst de accurate voorspellingen van Nostradamus in Mysteries, Magic and Miracles.
When I was a child and my friends would fall and cut themselves, I'd take blood from their wound.
We have 800 hours of daytime footage of UFOs, anywhere from 1 to 100 per day.
There were more events predicted for our future that Nostradamus wanted us to be aware of. From the boundaries of the universe to the depth of your soul, embark on a journey through the unknown and unexplained as we explore mysteries, magic, and miracles. Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick McNee. Today, we'll explore recent UFO activity, reveal startling secrets about Nostradamus' predictions, but first, we'll share a perfect day in the life of a real vampire. Do you think that you could be a vampire? Here's a simple test. Do you sleep in a coffin? Do you like to drink human blood? Are you nocturnal? How do you feel about crucifixes, holy water, and garlic? According to an updated vampire census, there may be as many as 1,500 vampires worldwide. Meet Katrina Coffin, a real-life vampire.
I consider myself a vampire. My friends consider me to be a vampire. I'm nocturnal. I do have a casket that I sleep in, where in my '68 Cadillac hearse at the moment. I also happen to be the president and founder of the Los Angeles Hearse Society. I have a European coffin in the back of my car that came from Italy, and I have a skeleton in there. And people are fascinated with the hearses. You know, they think they're scary, but it's like a horror movie where you're scared, but you just can't look away. Yeah, I've been a vampire all my life. When I was a child and my friends would fall and cut themselves, I'd take blood from their wound. And it evolved into a thing where when I became a teenager, I'd have friends who would let me cut them with a razor blade or, you know, X-Acto knife or whatever and take their blood. And they became my donors. And no, I don't refer to them as victims. They're donors because they have to be consenting adults. I would never take blood from a child or an animal. When I was a child, that my parents would always find me in the closet or in a large box or something. I like little dark enclosed places. I always have, and I still do. And I find caskets very, very warm and comfortable.
I think some of the lore came from congenital syphilis, which the victims of congenital syphilis had pointed teeth. They were very, very light sensitive. Their eyes were very pale with dark, like, rims around them, and they were light blind. So that could have been part of the lore of the vampire. And a lot of the new legend that's coming through in vampire lore is coming from Anne Rice. The vampires that are very seductive, that are still pretty human, that are not these creeping, crawling, dead things. The love, the sex, the drama, that's all the Anne Rice stuff.
Oh, I love horror movies. I've been watching horror movies ever since I was a child. I grew up with all the old Bela Lugosi vampire movies and Christopher Lee and all the Dracula Hammer films. I love horror movies. I've always been nocturnal, so when I was a kid, instead of being asleep when I was supposed to be, I was up all night watching the old black and white horror movie.
No, I never thought I would. Not even in my most wildest dreams did I ever think I would live next door to a vampire.
Yes, all my friends and neighbors know. It's nothing I hide. I don't feel I'm doing anything wrong.
Well, most neighbors would naturally ask another neighbor, may I borrow a couple of sugar or a couple of flour? And of course, in her case, I mean, she never bothers me or says, well, you might have to borrow a cup of blood, right? I mean.
And nowadays, I have donors, and I use a medical scalpel, and I take blood from them. And I take it directly from the wound because blood cools and coagulates very quickly. And once it's hit the air and cooled off, I don't enjoy it anymore. So it has to be fresh, warm, flowing, living blood.
I have told some of my friends, they think it's weird. They think I should get out immediately. and they think that my life's in danger.
I was telling her a story about when I had someone with me that we had seen Interview with the Vampire, and I was trying to keep myself off of this person, so I got some raw liver, heated it up in the microwave to about room temperature, or body temperature, actually. And yeah, about body temperature, and ate it, so I didn't have the urge to cut into this person that I was sitting with.
Or you get some rare steak. That's always good, and it's still bleeding.
There's an intimacy to the way I take blood because it comes directly from the wound. And I have to be in physical contact with the person. And I have no sexual contact because I sexually am celibate. So when I take blood, it's very intimate, and my donors also enjoy it. And I have no fear of death. And I like cemeteries. They're very peaceful and quiet and pretty. And I just enjoy, hanging out at them.
In superstitious lore, garlic is said to possess great powers, capable of fending off evil by its mere presence. Strands of garlic are often featured in vampire movies draped across windows or doors while the menacing bloodsucker paces outside. Similar beliefs about garlic are held in different parts of the world, far away from Transylvania and Count Dracula. In France, cloves of garlic are roasted on Midsummer's Eve and given to rural families for protection. In the Far East, garlic is thought to have the ability to bring back lost souls, and it's used in religious ceremonies. Are we alone in the universe? Have other beings visited our Earth? And has the government hidden the truth from us? The interest in the subject keeps growing.
We went to Bob Brown's 4th Annual International UFO Congress. One of the questions asked was, is the government covering up what they know about ETs and UFOs?
The governments have got their ways of keeping their secrets, as many secrets they've been keeping for years and years and years, which the public probably will never ever find about. They've got their ways of suppressing people, but I think the biggest thing they ever did was create the aura of ridicule around the subject. It was a wonderfully orchestrated thing where people who lived in worked in responsible positions and this kind of thing, because of the ridicule syndrome that went with this thing, they were in imminent danger of being branded lunatics and losing their positions. Anybody who talked about the subject was branded an idiot. But of course that only went for so long, and after many, many more people started to have encounters and experiences, sooner or later this thing was going to surface, and that's precisely what it's doing at this moment in time.
I was fortunate a number of years ago to have a cosmic top secret clearance when I was at Shape NATO. That clearance allowed me access to the Shape NATO study that they did from 1961 to 1964. And at the completion of the 3-year study, they concluded that we were not alone, we'd probably never been alone, that we were being visited, surveyed, studied, or some program of some kind was underway by several, and I want to repeat, several high-technology extraterrestrial civilizations. The impact of that alone on me was kind of earth-shaking. They determined as a result of their 3-year study that there did not appear to be a military threat involved, which was basically the primary purpose of the study itself in the first place.
Daniel Sheehan is the well-respected lawyer who broke the Karen Silkwood case and exposed the Iran-Contra scandal to Congress. He told us that President Carter asked Marcia Smith, head of the Science and Technology Division of the U.S. Congress Research Office, to find out about UFOs.
She began to prepare the data, was given access to both unclassified and some classified data to prepare her report. And it was on the basis of this analysis that she did and supervised out of the Congressional Research Office that she came to the official conclusion that there was from 1 to 2 other intelligent, highly developed civilizations within our galaxy, other than our planet, that was a fairly extraordinary finding, but it exists on the record as an official finding of the Congressional Research Office, and it was communicated to the Congress and then to the President. At that point, nothing more was done to release the information officially to the American public.
But the public's not buying. Jose Escamilla shoots video of UFOs 10 hours a day, every day. He sees them at Midway, a small community close to Roswell, New Mexico.
We recently captured a V formation of about 32 huge, 50-foot in diameter dome objects that are flying in formation. And beyond a doubt, they're not geese. There's nothing that suggests a neck or wing flutter. We have 800 hours of daytime footage of UFOs, anywhere from 1 to 100 per day. And for that to happen so blatantly and in broad daylight, I think that's definitely something behind it. What I consider to be profound is when you see something in the sky that is of extraordinary proportions and is sitting there, and it's circular, and it's just sitting there. You think it's a balloon, but then you look at it and it starts gliding, you know, and then you see other things just flashing by at extreme speeds, and you're saying, are my eyes playing with me, or do I get sky blind, or what is that? And this thing just moves and glides effortlessly. And then when you go back and see it on tape and you go freeze framing, you see hundreds of other objects around that you didn't see with the naked eye. That's very profound to me.
There were more events predicted for our future that Nostradamus wanted us to be aware of.